What do you got, gang? I really and truly appreciate you guys being here so much. Oh, don't get quiet on me again. Yes, sir. Sasha, bring the pain, brother.
You said Kyle Korver stops when he loses his form.
Yes.
When do you know if the player that day is lazy, not concentrated, or really tired? So when do you correct him? When do you encourage him? Or when do you stop practice?
Excellent question. One, I think you're having a relationship with your player that you know that you can trust them. So you and I have a good relationship. If you tell me, Alan, I'm a little tired today, I'm going to believe you because you've never given me a reason not to believe you. If we haven't established that trust yet, then some of it's just going to be your expertise as a coach. You're trying to get a feel for his energy, for his body language, for his eye contact. Does he tell you he's too tired, but then 2 minutes later he's running around, jumping and playing and goofing around, and you're like, see, you were lying to me. So some of it's that. I'm also not implying, all I was doing was sharing what Kyle Korver does. I do believe to some degree that you need to get some of your shooting in a state of fatigue, because you're going to be shooting in a state of fatigue when you play. So I'm not saying that everyone should end every workout the moment that they're tired. I'm just saying Kyle Korver, one of the best shooters in the world, that is his approach, and his approach has worked really, really well for him. So you may say, hey, your form's breaking down a little bit. Let's always go an extra 5 or 10 minutes. Let's always get an extra 20 to 30 reps. Again, I'm not talking about awful form. I just want to make sure that they can shoot under duress. So I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. And as you get older and as you get more coaching experience, I think you'll just get that feel for your players. But to me, everything comes down to trust. And I would always have 1 or 2 guys on the DeMatha team that I believed what they told me. And I would ask them, I'd be like, James, how are the guys doing, man? Coach, we're really tired, man. That triple overtime game last night wore us out. We are exhausted. I believe James is telling me the truth, so today's workout will be a little bit easier and a little bit less volume. And I think it always comes down to that. And if you don't have that trust built with your players, then you need to look in the mirror. You need to figure out why. Why do you not have a player on your team that you can believe to give you the straight dope when you ask them a question? If you don't have that you need to look internally, and you need to get that. Great question, though.
And one more.
Sure, fire away.
How much times can you correct one thing during one practice?
I don't have a concrete answer for that. Ultimately, the answer is until it's fixed. But I also realize that at some point, they're going to tune you out. If I have to tell you, take your guide hand off, your guide thumb off the ball, and I have to tell you 70,000 times in one practice, you're going to start to tune me out. So at some point, you do want to choose your battles. I do believe that if you see a player and they've got 8 things wrong with what they're doing, you only give them 1 or 2 that you're going to coach until they fix those 1 or 2, and then you move to the next 1 or 2. If I tell Sasha 8 things he's doing wrong with his shot, that's like drinking out of a fire hose. He'll never be able to fix 8 things at once. Let me fix the most important thing and then slowly build from that. But again, I don't know that there's a right answer to that. And again, I'm just giving you guys my perspective. If anyone asks a question and you guys have some insight, please jump up and share. I think some of that would be dependent on the age that you're working with, their mental maturity and emotional IQ to handle the information. Also, it probably depends on what it is that you're trying to tell them. Is it something, are they repeating the same mistake out of stubbornness? Are they repeating the same mistake because they're not listening to you? Or is it literally mechanically something they've been doing one way for 18 years and now you're trying to change something that they've done for 18 years? I mean, you're a pro coach, so by the time players get to you, their running form, they've been running that way for 20 years. If you're trying to tweak something in their running form, that's hard to do. That's a tall order. That's going to take a lot of time. So you be prepared to tell them the same thing over and over and over every single day. You'll probably get sick of saying it as much as they'll get sick of hearing it, but we have to remember that. If you started coaching 8-year-olds and they've only been running for a few years, it'd be much easier to fix some of those things. So with a lot of this stuff, I'm not taking the easy way out. There really is not a right answer to a lot of this. Coaching, there's definitely an art to science to coaching, but most of it is an art. It all depends on the level of player you're working with. It also depends on your own self-awareness. You guys need to know as a coach, what things do you do really, really well, and what things do you do not so well? How are your communication skills? I've met some coaches that are brilliant X's and O's guys, tactically as smart as anyone I've ever seen, but they don't have great interpersonal skills. They have a lot of trouble communicating what they know here and get their players to do it. So if that happens to be me as a coach, the dangerous part would be for me to not acknowledge that weakness of myself, for me to think that I can do it all. If I'm smart, I'm going to say, you know what? I know everything there is to know about basketball. I'm not real good at communicating. So you know what I do? I hire an assistant coach that is an unbelievable communicator, and together we make the perfect team. So that's what building your staff should be about, is surrounding yourself not with people that do everything like you. Shoot, if you and I think everything the same, then one of us is obsolete. We don't need one of us. So you need to make sure you surround yourself with people that complement you. There's nothing more dangerous in the world than a player or a coach that doesn't know what they don't know. That's the most dangerous player in the world. Give me a player that says, "Coach, I don't know." Cool, I'll tell you, I'll help you, I'll coach you. But if a player doesn't even know that they don't know that there's any room for teaching or any room for growth. Great question, Sasha, thank you. What else we got, gang? You got any questions, Simon?
I will, but no.
You look like you kind of want to ask something. No? Oh, you're just doing this in your hand? Okay. Nothing? Yes, sir. All right.
Talk just a little bit more about, you talked about the ankles, the hip, and the upper body, especially the shoulder mobility. Because for big guys.
Yeah, well, what's important to know, so the body works together in unison. It works in the kinetic chain. Everything's working together. We want everything to be as fluid as possible. So for me personally, from a strength standpoint, I don't do a lot of body weight training. You're not going to see our guys doing, a curl where they're just trying to improve the strength in their biceps. I want them to do compound movements. I want them to do big exercises that involve a lot of musculature and several joints. There are 4 things that you need to do if you want to reduce the occurrence of having knee issues. And I think you should be doing these 4 things every single day in your warm-up. The first, which I've already told you, is to improve ankle and hip mobility. You improve ankle and hip mobility, you will take pressure off of the knees. So that's the first thing. Second thing is you need to strengthen the posterior side of the body, which from a lower body standpoint is going to be your hamstrings, your butt, and your calves, the posterior side. A good portion of running and jumping in basketball puts stress on your quads, on your thighs. That's where a lot of the tension is felt when they're running and jumping. So in order to strengthen the knees, we need to make sure that we do some direct work for the hamstrings. Anything single leg, like a full extension here, this is going to work the hamstrings. Any type of hip bridge movement here is going to also work hamstrings and posterior side. Deadlifts are a great way to work the posterior side. So I would make sure we do something to work the posterior side of the lower body. Third thing is we need to condition and teach our players how to land softly, quietly, and on balance. Land like a ninja, land like a cat. Make sure they land with great stability, that their knees aren't knocking in. And then the fourth thing is we have to teach them how to decelerate and plant and change directions in a safe and efficient manner. So sometimes they'll plant with what's called a hockey stop, which means they plant with a 90-degree turn. Sometimes they'll plant with what's called a lunge stop. Obviously, if we're playing and I'm coming in to shoot, I can either step in with a hop step or a jump stop to shoot, or I can step in 1-2 and shoot. So those are all different ways to decelerate. So ankle and hip mobility, lower body, posterior leg strength, landing soft and quiet, and decelerating and changing direction properly are the 4 things that are non-negotiables. You need to be doing those with players at every age, every level, male and female, to make sure we're reducing the occurrence of knee issues.
Coach, for a team workout, you have your bigs doing the same things as your guards? For team workout?
Yes. Generally speaking, we have, from an athleticism standpoint, we want all of our players doing all of the same things. We want all of them going through all of the different movement patterns. That a big man and a guard having mobility in their ankles and hips is just as important. Now, when we get to some specific footwork patterns, that might change a little bit. We might have some different drills for our bigs if they're going to be playing in the post, because their footwork might be a little bit different. A big is rarely going to defensive slide more than 2 steps at a time, where a guard might do a little bit more. So we can tweak those. From a conditioning standpoint, I mean, I don't believe in overthinking it where everything is too position specific, but everything goes back to what is it you require of your players when they play. I said this to the guys yesterday. Most players score majority of their points from 2 to 3 to 4 places on the court, just based on your offense and based on the type of player they are. You know, if they're a Russell Westbrook, they score a vast majority of their points at the basket, attacking the basket, maybe from the elbow or the top of the key. Maybe those are his 3 sweet spots. Other players, again, Kyle Korver may make his living down in the corner or on the wing. Wherever your players get most of their shots from is where they should be taking most of their shots from in their workouts and their practices. It's about replicating the game actions. So same thing. If in your offense, Every time you get the ball on offense, whether after a made basket or you get it from a defensive rebound, if your 5-man is taught to run rim to rim, if that's what you do in your break, then that's something that's important to replicate when you're training. I mean, then I would make sure that I have a series of sprints that require my big to get from rim to rim as fast as possible. So those are just the different things that I want you to think about. We want everything to be put in a context of how it'll be recalled. Now, with that said, this is what's really important for players. Every player on your team has a role. Every player. You probably know what that role is. Have you communicated that to them? Do they know what that role is? Really important that they know that when you open up those lines of communication. Sadly, for them, it's not everybody's role to score 30 points a night. It's not everybody's role to get 20 shots. Some guys' role is to be a lockdown defender and set great screens. Some guys' role is to set up the offense and share the sugar. Some guys' role is to put up 15, 20 shots. So everybody's role is different. Every player needs to learn how to maximize and embrace and star in their role to the best of their ability. And their off-season workouts should be a reflection of what their current role is. Then they should look to build and grow above and beyond that if they want to expand their role. So if I play for Simon and Simon says, Alan, you're not a good enough three-point shooter to shoot threes for us. You get the game and you shoot a three, you're coming right back out. Your role is to be a lockdown defender, set screens, and score in the paint if you get the ball. Okay, so my all-season workouts are going to be designed to do those 3 things for Coach Simon to the best of my ability. But you know what? I believe that I have the capability of being a three-point shooter, and I'm going to show him that I can do it. So I'm going to put in the work after hours, the unseen hours. I'm going to work on that until I have proven to him that I have earned the right to change his mind. But it's all on me. It's not up to him. It's on me to maximize my current role and do what my coach has asked me to do, and then try to grow above and beyond my current role and expand that role if that's what I want to do. And then it's up to me in a practice situation to prove to him, Coach, you know what? I can consistently knock down an open 3. Let me prove it to you in practice. Going once, going twice. Sold. Guys, thank you so much.